These are the now unelectrified barbed wire fencing of Birkenau, just down the road from Auschwitz. I'm not going to give a long spiel about what it feels like to go to a old concentration camp. It's right to keep these things as a memorial. It's right to say things like, those who forget the past will be condemned to repeat it, but somehow humanity, we keep doing so. These train tracks were the tracks along which the cattle cars would come, and the gypsies, the Poles, the Jews were unloaded just there. And in the last days of 1944, when they weren't even taking the time to use the prisoners as slave labour, the Nazis would march the people straight off the cattle cars there, straight up this very road that I'm walking to. And about 200 metres that way is the gas chamber that they were told was the cleaning room, that they would be disinfected, and in they went to their death. They say, let this place be a cry of despair and a warning to humanity about what the Nazis did and how it shouldn't be repeated, but how it is again and again. Behind me here is the ruins of gas chamber number 5. There were 4 here in Birkenau and 1 over at Auschwitz. The people would be brought in here to this area underground. This is where they'd change. This is where they'd be told to put their clothes on a hook and remember the number to come back and get their clothes. All part of the elaborate fiction to make people think they were being sanitised and then rehoused somewhere. They'd then walk in there, and in there were the shower rooms, and on the roofs were the little holes that the gas was dropped in, the pallets that would then react with the air. The people who were standing near the pallets were relatively lucky. They would be dead within a few seconds. Those in the corners would take 20 or 30 minutes to die. In this rubble, all the rubble of the 5 gas chambers here, 1.5 million people died. Rwanda has never left me from the smell of the human corpses in Nyatarama Church. And the most shocking thing about Rwanda is in many ways how disorganised that genocide was. How the killing was done with machetes, normal people killing their neighbours, and then the bodies wasted and thrown into the rivers. The most shocking thing about Auschwitz-Birkenau and the other concentration camps is how organised it was, how everyone participated, how there was a structure around it, how then the remains of bodies were then used, either the ashes to fertilise fields or the hair to turn into blankets, the recycling of the silver and the gold from the fillings, and how methodical it was. I stood in a ex-Nazi concentration camp in a Serbian town called Niš, just after the Bosnian War finished, with a group of Serbian colonels, and they said they'd preserved that camp much like this one to remind them never to repeat history's mistakes. And I lost my temper and I asked them, well, what the hell do you think you've just been doing over the border for the last 4 years? Why is it we keep doing stupid things like this, and that you realise the fine line between barbarity and humanity that the human race lives next to, I suppose you'd call that fine line, is so much finer than we think it really is. And that step to barbarism usually starts with just one lie. Just one lie. I'm not the first person to say this, and I won't be the last. But I don't get it. I don't understand how people can do this to each other.